Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. I hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know I did. Always one of my favorite holidays. Enjoy that very much. And, enjoy spinning the calendar ahead to Christmas as well. And with Christmas means more meaningful football, means all kinds of stuff. Right? Going to talk a little bit about the Steelers. The Penguins won a game on Thanksgiving Eve, a night that's been pretty kind to them over the years. We'll see if they can keep that going. And it's Friday, so going to get to some of your questions as well. Before we do that, though, do want to remind you this show is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with the insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right, before we get into questions, I have two takes I want to throw out there. And one is just concern about the Steelers and the Bengals and the situation the Bengals have. The Steelers saw a very desperate team last week with the Cleveland Browns. They're going to see a desperate team again with the Bengals, and I think they are more offensively equipped. This concerns me. Like, if you look under the hood at the Bengals, it's something that I would do on baseball a lot. Look at why they're losing games. They're not losing games because the offense stinks. And if anything, the offense has gotten better. T. Higgins back, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, etc. I mean, they're losing games because of late game execution that I don't know if the Steelers can bank on continuing. And I mean things like Evan McPherson not making a field goal late, losing to the Chargers, then they give up a run. You know, Harrison Butker kicked a 51-yard field goal, I believe it was, when they lost to the Chiefs. Like, they lost to the Ravens by a total of 4 points. I mean, give me a break. These are not, they're not getting their clocks cleaned. They're not executing in late game situations, certainly, and you can pick through that. But as the Steelers prepare for this one, the offense is very good, and the Steelers have a challenge ahead of them, especially with their own red zone offense and trying to fix some issues there. That's been addressed at length by Ray Fittipaldo, Jerry Dulac, and Brian Batko. Make sure you check out their coverage. And the other thing is the Penguins. I thought it was actually a pretty good effort from the Penguins. I covered that one 5-4 over the Vancouver Canucks. It was actually 5-1. Early in the second period. The Penguins didn't do a great job holding the lead, but they did hold the lead. And we'll remind you of that. My takeaways from that one, the top line was very good, and that is a group that can carry this team absolutely. I wrote about them in a column yesterday. Do check that out. It's the first really good game Erik Karlsson has played in a while, I think. One of his best of the season. Maybe we'll say it that way. Made a couple really smart passes, the way he's moving his feet, some of the responsible plays and reads he made in his own zone. If they can hold on to this, if they can capture what they did, I think there's enough there for them to get this thing turned in the right direction. But there's obviously a lot of room to go, right? They have a very steep hill to climb that starts tonight with the Boston Bruins. An interesting team, by the way, in the Bruins, 5-3-2 in their last 10. Their power play stinks. It's the worst in the league, 12.4%. They're scoring only 2.38 goals per game. That's 31st. So I know I'm crazy. The Penguins might have something there. We'll see if they can keep the momentum going. So, all right, let's dig into your questions and a bunch of really good ones this week, everybody. Thank you so much. Michael PD at MPD Gramps of 4 asks, do you think there's any realistic chance of a baseball salary cap floor system in the next labor contract? I'll tell you this, Michael, there should be. I'm rooting for it. It's beyond time. I'm looking at these Juan Soto negotiations and what teams are looking at giving him. He's going to get more than $600 million, probably $650-ish million, 15-year deal. Give me a break. And not that I begrudge Juan Soto or Shohei Ohtani or anything like that. It just shouldn't be allowed. And it shouldn't be allowed the same way they shouldn't allow the Pirates to roll out the payrolls that they do. In the Pirates' defense, revenue sharing should be different, so they should have a different funding plan or whatever. Like, I'm careful saying that because I'm not making excuses for it. I'm not going there, but I do think that different revamped revenue sharing would go a long way. So to answer your question, Michael, do I think there's a realistic chance of that? No, I don't. And I think that way because the rich teams basically control all in Major League Baseball. Look at the teams that are pursuing Juan Soto. Look at the teams that were pursuing Shohei Ohtani. And frankly, I hate this, but you have small market owners like Bob Nunning who voted against the most recent who didn't vote against, who voted for. It would be a good thing if you voted against the most recent CBA, which didn't include a cap and a floor. So everybody kind of goes along with it. They find the things that work for them, and it doesn't work for the sport. It just doesn't. I think the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, they all do this a lot better. They create more legitimate parity. Major League Baseball does not do that. I dug into some of that after your question, Michael. Nobody won 100 games this year. It was the first season since 2015 that nobody won 100 games. But would you look at Major League Baseball and say things are as equal as the National Football League? I wouldn't. I don't think it comes anywhere close. Teams require 6-year rebuilds and all this stuff. So anyway, not to dwell too much on this one. I have a bunch more questions I want to get to. But first, have a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau about that area rebuilding. Are you ready for an escape from the everyday? The Bradenton area on Florida's west coast is welcoming visitors. Our world-famous beaches are being restored to their pristine states. Beloved island businesses are bouncing back faster than expected, and our signature Floridian cuisine is just as fresh as ever. Don't wait. Start planning your visit at BradentonGolfIslands.com. Thank you so much to Bradenton, and welcome back to First 10. Actually, we didn't go anywhere, right? It's not the video. I'm just accustomed to saying that. No. All right, so Timothy Toy at Tim Fishing God asks, who's the best Penguins goalie of all time? Settle an argument. It's not much of an argument for me, Tim. It's really not. It's Marc-Andre Fleury. It's got to be. Tom Barrasso's too. But some of the stuff that I looked at, their senior question, games, Fleury 691, Barrasso 460. Wins, Fleury 375, Barrasso 226. Shutouts, Fleury 44, Barrasso 22. Fleury technically 3 cups to Barrasso's 2. I know we can split hairs about how much, one played a part in the other. I do think what Barrasso did playing behind the team that he did that wasn't always interested in playing defense was impressive. Not that Fleury was playing behind, the 2000s Devils or something like that. He was not. A better debate might be who's the third best goalie. You know what I found weird? Tristan Jarry is third in Penguins history in wins with 138. I couldn't put Jarry as their third best goaltender in franchise history. Certainly not. I'd go with probably Matt Murray. He's fourth with 117 wins. But looking through this, it reminded me what a fascinating position this has been for the Penguins, right? Ken Reggett, Johan Hedberg, Patrick Lalime, all kinds of fun, funky stories that we've told and retold. Can't get into them all here, but an interesting debate nonetheless. Little Beer asks, what do you think Johan Oviedo's role will be on the Pirates this coming year? We forget a lot about Oviedo. I know I have. And I didn't forget about him in 2023 when he was mowing dudes down. He was really good. His stats, by the way, 32 starts that year, 4.31 ERA, 177 and 2/3 innings pitched, 158 strikeouts. There's a lot of stuff there. Had some power. His slider was devastating. I wouldn't move Oviedo to the bullpen. I would not. I think he can start. I like his motor. I like how he goes about his preparation for starting. I like what he can be. I like the ceiling there. I thought his curveball and changeup were better than, the slider is obviously his out pitch, his best pitch other than his fastball. But I thought the other two played. I'd keep him as a starter, but yeah, he's coming off Tommy John, so you're going to have to be a little bit cognizant of him. I could see them maybe piggybacking him and Burrows. I don't think it would be the worst idea either to go with a 6-man rotation or at least kind of a funky rotation. Like Jared Jones, you might want to afford some rest to. I don't think you want to screw with Paul Skeens. I don't think you want to screw with Mitch Keller. Ortiz, you can give him some rest. Falter, you can give him some rest. It might be a 6-guy rotation, but you're going to get a little bit funky and have a couple guys on 5 and just kind of get manipulative with some things and maybe piggyback some guys, but they can get creative. All right, Kevin Varley at KVarley13. Could you envision a Pirates infield next year with Nick Gonzales as the primary shortstop? Thanks for the question, Kevin. No, I could not. I don't know if I see that happening. Also want to just be realistic with Nick. He hit 270, had a 709 OPS plus of 96. League average for that, again, is about 100. It's nothing against Nick Gonzales, but he is not required to be in the lineup every day. Maybe something comes along. Maybe there's a deal. Maybe they make a move. I don't know. But right now, defensively, I would prefer IKF at short. If you're going to move O'Neal Cruz off of that position, which again, I have no issue doing, and I think they need to be as strong as possible defensively, I'm going to assume good health for Ke'Bryan Hayes, and I think their best option at shortstop is IKF. I understand the people who like IKF more as a bounce around guy. Feels a little redundant to me with Jared Triolo also doing something similar, but I would let IKF set down roots there. I like Nick more at second base, excuse me. If he hits, he's my guy at second base. I'm not actively looking to replace him, but that's probably the way I'd go. I like him a lot more at second base than I do short. Michael McHenry made an interesting suggestion to me. I had him on the radio last week, something like that, and we were talking about what they do. Bo Bichette was a name that Fort threw out there. I thought it was interesting. He suggested a trade for Bo Bichette. The production, I love it. 290 hitter, 798 OPS plus of 119 throughout a 6-year career. Give me that. That's fantastic. And then at that point, you bounce around IKF. The contract, I don't love it as much for Bo Bichette. He's on a 3-year, $33.6 million deal, but it's backloaded. It's at 17.6 this year, and then he's a free agent after this year. So you're basically rolling the dice on Bo Bichette. You're inheriting a very large number, relatively speaking, this season. I feel like they could probably replicate that production another way. More impressive for a pitcher to take down the order in 3 pitches or 9 swings and misses. That is asked by Joe Bananas at Joe_Bananas_2. I think it's the second one. It's more impressive to get 9 swings and misses. Anybody, even bad pitchers like me, you can get, you can saw through the lineup in 3 pitches, theoretically, if somebody, if that second hitter isn't paying attention and doesn't take a pitch like he should. But I ain't getting 9 swings and misses. I can guarantee you that. Yeah, there's just absolutely no way that would happen. Jonesy44 at Jeff Jones 44 asks, predict the Pirates starting rotation come opening day. Do you think Bubba Chandler has a shot? So here's my rotation: Skeens, Jones, Keller, Ortiz, Falter. If you want to go 6, you can go Oviedo and Burrows. Again, I think it could be fairly fungible there. And yes, I do think Bubba Chandler has a shot. Jared Jones has a shot. I wouldn't say it's likely. I think it's probably more expected, more reasonable that he starts in AAA and gets called up, May, June, something like that. I certainly think we'll see Bubba Chandler in the major leagues. But yeah, so he has a shot. Is it going to happen? I can't tell you. It's going to be dependent on how he pitches. Largy Condios at Way Large asks, have you started a novel, sports or otherwise? Here's a fun one. No, I haven't. And I don't think I ever will. I've had people ask me, like, why don't you write a book? Do you ever want to write a book? No, I don't. There's something hugely gratifying to me about the process of, I guess, being a beat writer or a columnist or somebody who covers local teams for a living. I love seeing what I'm doing online, in print. I love seeing that process shortened. Like if you're writing a book, you're working, silently working for a long, long time. And then what you're working on comes out and it's great and the public can see it. But like, it's been a year. I have a problem with it being like 1 or 2 days where I'm like working. Nobody's seeing what I'm doing. It's one of the reasons why I don't think I could ever be an enterprise writer. And I kind of blend, enterprise writing, beat reporting, columnizing, a whole bunch of things. It's a big stew of what my job is. But that's sort of why you see my byline a lot. I like working on something and seeing the result of it. It's one of my favorite things about this business. So good question, but no, I don't think I could ever write a book, and I certainly haven't started it. Last one, Mark the Shark at Mark J. Will 40. Will the Steelers sniff the end zone against the worst red zone defense in the league? Yes, I think they will. Mark is obviously talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals aren't very good in the red zone. They allow a touchdown on 70.6 red zone possessions. That's actually the second worst in the NFL. I do think the Steelers will be able to score with the Bengals. I said at the beginning of this podcast, they worry me, and they do. They worry me because I think they're much better than their record indicates, in large part because of their offense. But this is not a good defense. I also think the Steelers have been guilty of kind of overthinking things on their own. Why you're throwing up a 2-point conversion try to Cordero Patterson, do not know. I think this is the week they kind of get back to basics. They get back to what worked for them. Run the ball, establish the run, play action off of that. It ain't that complicated. At least I don't think so. And I think the Steelers can turn it around, and they will produce in the red zone against the Bengals. Not saying they're going to, make a run to the AFC Championship game, but I think they can handle the Bengals. All right, thanks so much for watching on this Black Friday. Love doing these. Love the Friday Q&A editions. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and so much more. Looking forward to the game on Sunday. Make sure you're back in this space on Monday. We'll recap it and a whole bunch more on First 10. Thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.